Let me tell you something that changed my whole life. The plan you have for yourself is way too small. I need you to really hear that. Whatever you are dreaming about right now, whatever you are hoping for, whatever you think is the best case scenario for your life, it is too small. God is not thinking on your level. He is not limited by what you have seen or what you have experienced. He is thinking in dimensions you cannot even comprehend. You are thinking about paying rent. God is thinking about building you an empire. You are thinking about getting through this week. God is thinking about establishing a legacy through you that will last for generations. You are worried about getting a job. God is trying to give you a calling. There is a big difference between a job and a calling. A job pays your bills. A calling fulfills your purpose. And most people settle for jobs because they never gave God the space to reveal their calling. See, we limit ourselves because we only know what we have seen. If you grew up in a small town where nobody ever made it big, you probably think small. If you grew up in a house where everybody struggled with money, you probably have a scarcity mindset. If you grew up around people who never believed in God or never trusted in His power, you probably have trouble believing He can do the impossible in your life. But your environment does not determine your destiny. Your past does not dictate your future. God is not limited by your experiences, your neighborhood, or your education. He used a shepherd boy to kill a giant. He used a teenage girl to give birth to the Savior of the world. He used fishermen to change the course of human history. He is not looking at your resume. He is not checking your credentials. He is looking at your heart and your willingness to trust Him with your life. He is trying to take you somewhere you have never imagined, but you keep pulling back because it does not match the little picture in your head. You have this image of what your life is supposed to look like. And when God starts leading you in a different direction, you resist, you fight against it. You try to pull the steering wheel back because the road looks unfamiliar. But unfamiliar does not mean wrong. Sometimes unfamiliar means breakthrough. The biggest mistake you can make is to shrink God's plan down to your size. You take this massive, unlimited, all-powerful God and you put Him in a little box that fits your understanding. You say things like, "This is just how my life is going to be." You say things like, "People like me do not get those kinds of opportunities." You say things like, "That is for other people, not for me." And every time you say those things, you are insulting the God who created you for more. Your plan gets you a house. God's plan gets you a legacy. Your plan gets you a comfortable life. God's plan gets you a significant life. Your plan keeps you safe. God's plan makes you dangerous to the enemy. Stop settling for your plan when the creator of the universe is trying to give you His plan. You walk around here every single day thinking you've got everything under control. You got your schedule, you got your 5-year plan. You got your spreadsheets and your calendars. You got your vision board on the wall and your goals written down. You feel good about yourself because you are organized and prepared. But let me tell you what life has taught me after all these years of living. And then life comes along and knocks every single thing off your desk. One phone call changes everything. One diagnosis changes everything. One accident changes everything. One unexpected event that you never saw coming destroys the whole plan you spent years putting together. And you are left standing there wondering what happened, wondering how everything fell apart so fast, wondering why your perfect plan did not protect you from chaos. Why does this happen? Because control is an illusion. It is a trick your mind plays on you to help you feel safe. You think that if you plan enough, prepare enough, and worry enough, you can prevent bad things from happening. But that is not how life works. You cannot control other people. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control your health completely. You cannot control natural disasters. You cannot control timing and circumstances that are beyond your reach. The only one who truly has control is God. He is the only one who can speak to a storm and make it calm down. He is the only one who can take a hopeless situation and turn it into a testimony. is the only one who sees all the variables and knows how to work them together for your good. When you try to take his place as the controller of your life, you are setting yourself up for exhaustion and disappointment. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can stop stressing yourself into sickness, trying to manage things that were never yours to manage. Stress is what happens when you try to carry a weight that God never asked you to carry. Anxiety is what happens when you try to solve problems that God never assigned to you. You are making yourself mentally and physically sick because you refuse to let go of the illusion of control. I am not saying you should be irresponsible. I am not saying you should not plan or prepare. Wisdom still requires action on your part. But there is a difference between doing your part and trying to play God. You do what you can do, and then you trust God with what only he can do. You make your plans, but you hold them loosely. You take your steps, but you let him order them. The peace that surpasses understanding comes when you finally admit that you are not in control and you are okay with that. When you can lay your head on the pillow at night, knowing that the God of the universe is handling things you cannot handle, that is when you start sleeping well. That is when the anxiety starts to fade. That is when you can breathe again. People think surrendering to God means you are weak. Society has taught us that surrender is failure. We grow up hearing that we need to fight for everything. We need to be strong and independent. We need to never give up and never give in. And while there is some truth to perseverance, there is also a dangerous lie hidden in that message. The lie is that you should never surrender to anyone or anything. That is the biggest lie the enemy ever told. He wants you to keep fighting in your own strength because he knows you will eventually run out of strength. He wants you to keep trying to do it on your own because he knows you will eventually fail on your own. He wants you to see surrender as defeat because he does not want you to experience the power that comes when you surrender to God. Surrender takes more strength than fighting. Let me say that again because I need it to sink in. It takes more strength to surrender than it does to fight. Anybody can clench their fists and keep pushing. Anybody can grind their teeth and keep forcing their way through. But it takes real courage to open your hands and let go. It takes real faith to stop struggling and start trusting. It is easy to struggle and push and force your way through life. That is what the world expects you to do. That is what feels natural to your flesh. Your ego wants to fight. Your pride wants to prove that you can handle everything on your own. But your spirit knows better. Your spirit knows that there is a better way. Your spirit is tired of fighting battles that God already won. But to let go, to open your hands and say, I trust you, Lord, that takes real courage. It takes courage because you are admitting that you do not have all the answers. You are admitting that you need help. You are admitting that there is someone greater than you who knows better than you. In a world that worships self-sufficiency, surrender feels like going against everything you have been taught. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving over. There is a massive difference between those two things. Giving up means you quit. Giving over means you transfer responsibility. When you surrender to God, you are not quitting on your life. You are transferring the control of your life to someone who can actually handle it. You are saying, I trust you with my future more than I trust myself. You are handing the wheel to the only one who knows the road. Think about it this way. If you were in a car driving through a dangerous mountain road in the pitch black dark, and someone offered to drive who could see perfectly in the dark and knew every twist and turn of that road, would you keep driving? Of course not. You would gladly hand over the wheel. That is what surrendering to God is like. He sees what you cannot see. He knows what you do not know. Let him drive. Every hard thing you went through was not a punishment. I need you to get that out of your head right now. You have been walking around thinking that God was punishing you. You have been thinking that you did something wrong, and that is why life has been so difficult. But that is not how God works. He is not sitting up in heaven waiting for you to mess up so he can make your life miserable. That is not his character. That is not his nature. It was preparation. Every tear you cried was preparing you. Every sleepless night was preparing you. Every person who betrayed you was preparing you. Every failure was preparing you. Every setback was preparing you. You thought you were being destroyed, but you were actually being developed. You thought God had forgotten about you, but he was actually paying very close attention to what was being built inside of you. God was building something in you during those difficult seasons. He was building patience when you had to wait longer than you wanted. He was building faith when you had to believe without seeing any evidence. He was building strength when you had to carry heavy burdens. He was building wisdom when you had to learn hard lessons. He was building character when you had to face your own weaknesses. None of it was wasted. You thought you were falling apart, but you were actually being put together. You were being assembled for a purpose. All those broken pieces were being rearranged into something beautiful. The pain was making you compassionate. The rejection was making you resilient. The loneliness was teaching you how to hear God's voice. The struggle was showing you what you were really made of. You cannot become who you are meant to be without going through what you went through. There are no shortcuts to destiny. There is no microwave version of purpose. You have to be slow cooked in the fire of adversity. You have to be tested and tried and stretched and broken and rebuilt. That is how diamonds are made. That is how gold is purified. That is how warriors are trained. The struggle develops your strength. The pain develops your purpose. The weight develops your wisdom. Everything that felt like it was killing you was actually making you stronger. You could not see it in the moment because you were too busy surviving. But now that you have some distance from it, you can start to see how it all connected. You can start to see how one thing led to another and brought you to where you are today. Stop cursing your past. It was all training for where you are going. Every single experience, good or bad, was a class in the school of life. God does not waste anything. He takes your pain and turns it into power. He takes your mess and turns it into a message. He takes your test and turns it into a testimony. When you can look back and thank God for the hard times, you have reached a new level of maturity. I know you are tired of waiting. I can see it on your faces. I can feel it in this room. You have been waiting for a long time. You have been believing in something that has not come yet. You have been praying for something that seems like it is never going to happen. And you are starting to wonder if God even hears you. You are starting to wonder if you are wasting your time. You are starting to lose hope. I know you feel like you have been patient long enough. You look around and you see other people getting blessed. You see other people getting married. You see other people getting promotions. You see other people buying houses and having babies and living their dreams. And you are still waiting. It feels unfair. It feels like you did something wrong. It feels like God is playing favorites, but God's timing is perfect every single time. Not early, not late, perfect. He does not operate on your timeline. He operates on his timeline. And his timeline takes into account things that you cannot see. He knows what needs to happen before your blessing can come. He knows what needs to change in you before you are ready to receive what you have been asking for. He knows the right people, the right circumstances, and the right conditions. You are trying to rush something that needs time to develop. You want the harvest without the planting season. You want the baby without the pregnancy. You want the muscles without the workout. But that is not how growth works. That is not how development works. Some things cannot be rushed without being ruined. If you pick a fruit before it is ripe, it will be bitter. God's timing ensures that your blessing comes when it is fully ripe and ready. You cannot put a cake in the oven for 5 minutes and expect it to be done. It does not matter how hungry you are. It does not matter how much you want to eat it. If you take it out too early, it will be raw and useless. You have to let it bake for the full time. The same is true for your dreams and your prayers and your hopes. God has them in the oven. He is baking something good for you. But you have to let him finish. Trust the process. Trust the timing. I know that it is easier said than done. I know that waiting is one of the hardest things we ever have to do. But waiting is not passive. Waiting is active trust. Waiting is saying, I believe God is working, even when I cannot see it. Waiting is refusing to take matters into your own hands and mess up what God is doing behind the scenes. What is meant for you will not miss you. If it has your name on it, it is coming. No devil in hell can stop it. No person on earth can block it. No circumstance can prevent it. When God says it is your time, nothing in the universe can hold it back. So stop worrying. Stop stressing. Stop trying to make things happen before their time. Your blessing knows your address. Fear will talk to you every single day of your life if you let it. It will wake you up in the morning with anxious thoughts. It will follow you to work with worried scenarios. It will sit next to you at dinner with negative predictions. It will keep you up at night with terrifying possibilities. Fear is consistent. Fear is persistent. Fear never takes a day off. It is always there, whispering in your ear, trying to control your decisions. It will tell you that you are not ready. You are not smart enough. You are not educated enough. You are not experienced enough. You are not talented enough. You are not connected enough. You are not young enough or old enough or good looking enough or wealthy enough. Fear has a million reasons why you should not even try. Fear is an expert at finding your insecurities and using them against you. It will tell you that you are going to fail. It will remind you of every mistake you ever made. It will replay your failures like a movie in your mind. It will tell you that what happened before will happen again. It will convince you that you are destined to repeat your worst moments. Fear takes your past and uses it to poison your future. It takes your pain and uses it to paralyze your progress. It will tell you that people will laugh at you. It will make you worried about what others think. It will keep you small and quiet and hidden because you are afraid of criticism. It will tell you that your dreams are stupid and people will mock you for even trying. Fear cares way too much about the opinions of people who do not even matter. Fear makes you a prisoner of public perception. But let me tell you something about fear. Fear is a liar. It has never told the truth one time in the history of humanity. Every scary prediction it ever made was either wrong or exaggerated. Every terrible outcome it ever promised either did not happen or was not as bad as it said. Fear deals in fiction. Fear creates movies in your mind that are not based in reality. Fear is a false prophet. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. It takes a little possibility and blows it up into a certain catastrophe. It takes a minor risk and turns it into a guaranteed disaster. It takes one negative voice and makes it sound like a chorus. Fear distorts your perception and makes threats seem bigger than they are. But when you actually face the thing you fear, you almost always find it was smaller than fear made it seem. When you let God lead you, fear has to move out of the way. Faith and fear cannot live in the same house. They are enemies. They cannot coexist. When faith shows up strong, fear has to leave. When you are walking with God, when you are trusting His plan, when you are believing His promises, fear loses its power over you. It does not disappear completely, but it no longer controls you. You feel the fear, and you move forward anyway because your faith is bigger than your fear. Every single person in here has a gift. I do not care where you came from. I do not care what you have been through. I do not care what labels people have put on you. You have a gift inside of you that God placed there before you were even born. Before you took your first breath, God deposited something special in you. It is unique to you. Nobody else has it quite the same way. Something that God put inside of you that nobody else has quite the same way. Your gift might be your voice. Your gift might be your ability to write. Your gift might be your way with numbers. Your gift might be your talent for making people feel comfortable. Your gift might be your creativity. Your gift might be your ability to fix things, build things, or organize things. Your gift might be your compassion, your leadership, or your teaching ability. And that gift, when you develop it and use it for His glory, it will make room for you. This is a promise straight from Scripture. Your gift will make room for you and bring you before great people. Notice it does not say your connections will make room. It does not say your family name will make room. It does not say your degree will make room. Your gift, the thing God put in you, that is what opens doors. You do not have to kick down doors when you are walking in your gift. You do not have to force your way into rooms. You do not have to manipulate or compromise or beg. When you are operating in your God-given gift, doors open that no man can shut. Opportunities come that you could never have manufactured on your own. The right people find you. The right platforms present themselves. You do not have to beg for opportunities. Desperation is not attractive. Begging is not becoming. When you know who you are and whose you are, when you are confident in your gift and faithful in developing it, you carry yourself differently. You do not chase. You attract. You do not beg. You become. You do not force. You flow. There is an ease that comes with walking in your purpose. The gift opens doors that your resume never could. I have seen people with no formal education sit in rooms with scholars because their gift made room. I have seen people from broken backgrounds stand before kings and presidents because their gifts made room. I have seen people with no connections build empires because their gift made room. Your gift is more powerful than your circumstances, but you have to trust God enough to use it, even when it seems impractical to the world. The world will tell you to be practical. The world will tell you to get a real job. The world will tell you to stop dreaming and start conforming. But when God gives you a gift, He also gives you the responsibility to use it. Do not bury your talent because it does not make sense to other people. Their opinion is not your assignment. You have too many voices in your head that do not belong there. Your mind is crowded with opinions, advice, and criticism from people who have no business speaking into your life. You have given the microphone to people who should be sitting in the audience. You have allowed spectators to become commentators on your journey. And all that noise is drowning out the only voice that really matters. Everybody has an opinion about your life. Everybody thinks they know what is best for you. Everybody has advice to offer, whether you ask for it or not. People love to tell you what you should do, how you should do it, and when you should do it. They speak with such confidence, you would think they had all the answers to life. But most of them are just as confused as you are. Your cousin got something to say. Your coworker got something to say. Your neighbor got something to say. Your old classmate, whom you have not talked to in 10 years, got something to say. People you barely know feel comfortable giving you life advice. They will tell you who to marry, what job to take, where to live, and how to raise your kids. And half of them have made a complete mess of their own lives. People on the internet who do not even know your middle name have something to say. They do not know your story. They do not know your struggles. They do not know your sacrifices. They do not know what keeps you up at night or what makes your heart sing. But they will type paragraphs of criticism and advice without a second thought. The internet has given everyone a platform, but not everyone deserves your attention. You have to learn to tune out the noise and listen only to the voice of God. This requires discipline. This requires intentionality. You have to guard your ears the same way you guard your heart. Not every voice deserves access to your mind. Not every opinion deserves consideration. You have to become very selective about who you allow to speak into your life and your future. Most people giving you advice have never been where you are trying to go. They have never built what you are trying to build. They have never overcome what you are trying to overcome. They are comfortable where they are, so they cannot understand why you want more. They are afraid to take risks, so they try to talk you out of yours. Their advice is filtered through their own limitations and fears. Why are you taking directions from somebody who is lost? Would you ask a broke person for financial advice? Would you ask someone with a terrible marriage for relationship tips? Would you ask someone who has never started a business to mentor you in entrepreneurship? Of course not. So why do you let people who have never pursued their dreams tell you to give up on yours? Consider the source before you accept the advice. You cannot fly with eagles if you hang with pigeons. This is not just a cute saying. This is a fundamental truth about life, success, and purpose. The people you spend the most time with will either lift you or drag you down. There is no neutral. Every relationship in your life is either taking you closer to your destiny or further away from it. The people around you matter more than you realize. You become like the people you spend time with. Their attitudes rub off on you. Their habits influence you. Their beliefs start to become your beliefs. Their limitations start to feel like your limitations. If you hang around negative people, you will become negative. If you hang around small thinking people, you will think small. If you are surrounded by doubters and complainers and people who do not believe in anything bigger than themselves, you will start to shrink. Their doubt will infect your faith. Their complaints will poison your gratitude. Their small vision will limit your possibilities. You cannot soar to new heights when the people around you are constantly pulling you back down to their level. You need people in your circle who pray. You need people who know how to get on their knees and talk to God. You need people who believe in the power of prayer, not just as religious ritual, but as genuine communication with the Almighty. When you are in a crisis, you need people who can pray you through it. When you are losing faith, you need people who can believe for you until your faith returns. You need people who believe in God's power. You need people who have seen Him do the impossible. You need people who have testimonies of breakthrough, miracle, and divine intervention. When you hear their stories, it builds your faith. You start to believe that if God did it for them, He can do it for you too. Surround yourself with people who have experienced the supernatural. You need people who will speak life over you when you feel dead inside. You need people who will remind you of who you are when you forget. You need people who will call out the greatness in you when all you can see is weakness. You need people who will prophesy over your future when you are stuck in your present. You need people who will not let you give up on yourself. Your circle will either lift you or pull you down. Choose wisely. This might mean making some hard decisions. This might mean creating some distance from people you love. This might mean spending less time with family members who constantly discourage you. It is not about being mean or arrogant. It is about protecting your destiny. You cannot afford to let the wrong people have unlimited access to your life. Prayer without action is just wishing. A lot of people pray, but not a lot of people act on their prayers. They say the words, but they never do the work. They ask God for blessings, but they never position themselves to receive those blessings.